Still working on. Okay, I think we're live now. Alrighty, hey everybody, welcome to Clubhouse. So as you can tell, we are doing Clubhouse live now, but you can still access the room as well in the link below. If you'd like to talk on the screen with us, we can put you up on stage and you can talk with us, or you can just leave us a comment. We can look at the comments too. Sorry, I had something pop up on my computer here. But we are going to be doing this every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to stick around about, 15, 20 minutes. So if you have any questions or anything. But today we are going to talk about Man-Stration, which is just male frustration.
I think we decided that was menstruation.
Oh, menstruation.
I think menstruation is
okay.
a different thing. I don't think I'll sign up for that.
Oh, yeah.
My
That's
wife
just
may
it
sign me
clicked
up
in.
for it.
I got that. Oh, my God.
I hear it's very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be done in, I think, if you're the servant of a king, you would have to become a eunuch, which would be, as you said, menstruation.
No, just
Heather
like
just got it. Yeah. Nothing
Oh,
like the
goodness.
delayed joke reaction.
Yeah.
Menstruation, and I think it's something that men periodically
Oh, gosh.
go through, and it's not just once a month. I find myself going through it every single day. I'm not comparing this with what, by the way, with what my wife goes through or did go through, but I think men have their thing, and it's our kind of funny take on catastrophization. And men are often, believe it or not, master catastrophizers. But I think that we can learn something from that. And hopefully you guys listening, or you ladies listening who have guys in your life, can use some of this information to help them be a little bit more psychologically healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a question. Why do men seem to oversimplify everything, and then when they go to do it, there's much more to it than they thought, and they get frustrated?
Gosh, that's a great question. I didn't expect that. My team is going to interview me today, since I'm going to be I've been voluntold to be the designated male in the room today. And I don't know. I mean, I can speak for myself. I can't speak for all men, but maybe some of you guys can key into this. I think it's because men are more destination oriented. You've been on a trip with a guy, and it's just got to get there, and they'll drive 120 miles to get there, and they miss the whole journey. And so I would guess, I've actually not thought about that. I think the thing is, men create this grand vision in their mind, and they don't stop to take proper account of planning along the way. And I think that it's not fair. It's probably not the healthiest thing to do. And thank you, ladies, for picking up the pieces in the lives of your guys. And my wife does this. She reminds me of this, that you plan these big things, and then it's kind of I'm here doing the dirty work, so to speak, which I'm glad to help out with. But no, you're right. I will often jump to the end and not properly take account of the journey that's going to be required to get us there. Mm-hmm. I think that there's some value in that, though, because the other way that you could look at it is, if you always stopped ahead of time to do that mental editing, I want to achieve this goal, but you mentally edit, you'd never get to the goal. And as our team, actually, we just had a team meeting. What we talked about was, you can't create and edit at the same time. When you're writing a book, a writing coach will often say you need to go ahead and just write and create. And they call it the creative brain. You only have one brain, but it can do different tasks. You do that creative task, and then later you come back and do the editing task. I think, David, what you're talking about is the editing task. And listen up, guys, it's great to create, but stick around for the editing. Stick around for the leg work, the elbow grease work that does not belong to the other people, just in your life. I guess if you're Elon Musk, it belongs to the other people in your life because you got $100 billion. But for those of us that don't, if you're going to create, you need to stick around for the editing and the elbow grease work. But that's a great question.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me. I think this happened when we were in Ohio. We were gonna go see this museum. It was like a train museum, and so the guys were like, "Yeah, it takes about 2.5 hours to get there. Let's get packed up and let's go. We need to go now." And we were like, "Wait, let's check and see if it's open." It wasn't open. It wasn't open.
Ah, pish posh. Who needs instructions? Who cares if it's open? We'll climb over the fence.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that solution focus too can be frustrating for women as well, because we may be having a difficult time with something. So maybe, okay, I'll give you a personal example. One time I was cooking eggs and the spatula fell on the floor, and bless my sweet boyfriend at the time, now husband's heart, I started crying, and he was like, "We can pick up the spatula. It's going to be okay." And I was like, "It has nothing to do with the spatula."
Isn't there a saying, don't cry over dropped spatulas?
Yeah.
Or meatloaf.
Or meatloaf. Don't cry over
I
meatloaf.
cried over a dropped meatloaf once. Same
But
thing.
it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
kind of that fix
When you
it,
cry over meatloaf,
you
it
know.
makes it saltier, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Probably,
that's
yeah.
true.
Meatloaf seasoned with the cook's tears.
Yeah, I've been told I'm salty enough, so
You guys had other questions?
yes.
Can men's frustrated sighs power entire cities? Is frustration the new energy source? I know that's a hot
Oh,
topic.
wow.
Hey.
Can men's frustration power entire cities? Wow.
And we're focusing on, like,
How
solar
fascinating is
energy and
that?
wind energy. What about frustration energy?
You know, I did see this Saturday Night Live skit one time that showed how companies came up with their nutritional replenishment drinks, and they had a room full of people on bicycles, and all the bicycles were in kiddie pools,
Oh, no.
and they were profusely sweating, and they would gather up the sweat
Oh.
and bottle it into these replenishment drinks. It kind of brings that to mind.
Oh my
I don't know
gosh.
how. I think if you could harvest that, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the Matrix thing, isn't it? That you hook people's brains to power large cities. But I don't think you've even seen the Matrix, have you?
I think I saw when it first,
When it first came
Yeah,
out.
like a
But
long
if you
time
remember,
ago.
guys, that's what that was. I think it's an interesting question because my frustration is like jet fuel to me, and my wife often misunderstands my frustration. She will take my frustration personally. And I'm sure with some people, their frustration can be personal. Mine's not. I will tell people, I told my wife, I am frustrated. It is not at you. It is with a situation. My frustration fuels me to find a better way. It helps me to learn. It fuels me to learn a better way. And if I'm doing something that's repetitive, by the time I get to the end of it, I'll be so much better. But there's lots of men that catastrophize their frustration. And guys, what happens when you catastrophize your frustration? You then graduate that frustration into anger. And anger is really just frustration on steroids. You know, really, you're telling yourself that something is a danger to you. But just because something isn't what you prefer doesn't mean it's a danger. Believe me, I like to get what I prefer, and I often don't. Many times I don't. How often do men prefer things to go their way? Anybody know the number? It's 3 digits. It's 100%. Are you going to get that? Well, of course not. Speaking of Elon Musk, I don't even think even Elon Musk gets that. By the way, guys, always getting your way will make you a weaker man because you don't have to struggle with not getting your way. It would be like only going to the gym and picking up the 10-pound dumbbells. Why would you want that? Any moron can get their way. It doesn't take any special skill to get your way. It does take a lot of mental skill to not get your way. And that's the value. The value is the more you exercise your brain by letting yourself not get your way, the more powerful you'll become.
Okay. and this may just be a stereotype, but it's something I've noticed. Why do you think men are, when they get frustrated, tend to be more physical? So, like, if they're working on something, they'll, like, throw a wrench. Or you have people who, like, punch walls or punch trees or want to punch a punching bag or something like that.
That's interesting. You know, I don't know that I have the answer to that. I would suspect, you know, we're kind of back to the nature nurture issue, and I think it really is more of a nurture thing. For me, I grew up around a dad who was very physical. I had to explain why the refrigerator was beaten up, and I would say, well, it fell over. But then again, I mean, I don't know who fell for that. How do fridges fall over? But Dad would get you know, to catastrophizing, and most want to say Dad would get angry, but that's anger's at the end of the neurological daisy chain. There is something happens, and then there's my belief about it, and that's where the catastrophizing comes in. And if you're catastrophizing something, you're going to, you'll get frustration, annoyance, anger, rage, but all that comes out of thought processes. We first engineer our thoughts, and then our thoughts engineer our lives, and part of that engineering is our behavior. So to answer Sarah's question, I think it's a programming issue. I think men, we give ourselves permission to do things that we ought not. We give ourselves permission to say things that we ought not. And I'll say this kind of tongue-in-cheek, but the best tool I found is psychological duct tape. Psychologically, before you say something you ought not, pull out this psychological duct tape, wrap a few rolls of it around your face, or pretend. Don't do that for real. You know, that will not work out. You know, there's that poor young lady that put the glue in her hair and had to have cosmetic surgery because she wanted, I don't know what you call that. I'm not a good hair person. Shiny hair, and it didn't work out right. But psychologically, I mean, why do you got to say what you're thinking right now anyway? Why can't it wait? Your head's not going to explode. Your little boy parts are not going to fall off. You can safely not say a thought in your head, and you know what will happen? Are you listening? That's what will happen. Nothing will happen. And then you give it a few hours or a few days, and I think you'll find that you have decided it's not the thing to say anyway. I do this almost every day on social media. I'm in this social media debate. It's not much of a debate because the other side only had insults telling me that I don't know what the F I'm talking about and you should shut the F up. And they're not talking about Frosted Flakes, by the way. It's another F word, and it's not feel either. But that's not much of a debate. If you're going to debate somebody, listen, come up with a logical point. Insults are not only not a logical point, insults just demonstrate that you have no point. Insults demonstrate that you're viewing what the other person is saying is a threat to you. So if you're insulting me, all you're telling me is that you think I'm a threat to you, which, I mean, I don't think I'm a threat to you. I think that you can believe whatever you want to believe. And men, by the way, that's a technique. Really engineer your brain to pick apart your thoughts so that you understand that just because someone says something that you don't agree with, that, I mean, why is that a threat to you? If it's spoken words, then that is air set in motion. If it is on the screen of a phone or a computer, those are just pixels in a pattern on a page. It's interesting that on social media people will say, oh, you're triggered, you're activated, you're angry, and I don't know. They obviously aren't looking at me through my phone's camera because I'm typing with my thumbs, and my heart rate is probably, it's usually 56, 57. I'm a passionate guy, but why can I react this way with criticism, even insults and vitriol and all kinds of rude comments? Well, because they don't mean anything to me. And why would I make them mean something that they're not. That's not really good for me. So decide what you think, and then what you decide to think is going to create both behavior and emotion. Take your power back.
So, one more question. We have about 5 minutes left. Why do men get so frustrated when women just want to talk and just talk something through, and they don't want it to be fixed?
Yeah.
Men always want to fix everything, and a lot of times women just...
Well, I think that's one of my favorite terms that goes against the grain. People think that there's this overthinking. I personally have not encountered in my 38 years doing this that people actually overthink. It's really the opposite. They underthink. And what men do is they're ignoring important aspects of the situation. That's underthinking. Ignoring important aspects of the situation. And then they have an initial impression that what you're bringing is a threat to either you or them. And when men perceive something as a threat, then they want to stop it. And so coming up with a solution is a man saying, I don't know what's going on, but this is a threat and we've got to stop it. Well, we're having plumbing problems, by the way. And when people come here for the first time, I just strike up a conversation. And I talk about whatever's going on. And it's really quite fascinating. If I say to a female patient, we're having plumbing problems, it doesn't last long. Oh, okay. Oh, well. But if I say it to a guy, guess what the first thing the guy says? If you need a plumber out here, we'll get you a plumber. And it's just, we're going to fix it. And I think that's wonderful. I think that speaks very well of the guys, and I've had dozens who said basically the same thing. You know, we're gonna get you fixed up here, because they view, if they like you, if they care for you, they want to help you. And it's just underthinking. They don't understand what's going on here. And I try to share with men that when your significant other, wife, fiance, girlfriend, bride-to-be, whoever, says, I have a problem, it may mean I want you to join in this with me as we dig deeper. That's the processing. I want you to, and it's not to fix a problem, it's more to deepen a relationship. And that's what guys miss. You know, I mean, guys are sometimes, you know, morons when it comes to relationships. I know I am. And my wife has been training me now for it'll be 40 years this summer. And I guess I'm a slow learner, but she really wants me to join with her. It's kind of like a farmer that will disc a field, cultivate a field, plant a seed, fertilize a seed, grow a crop. And men want to jump to the end and, I don't know, I guess think that they'll walk out in the field and there's going to be a box of Wheaties or something out there with none of that other stuff going on, which relates back to what we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. Men just want to jump to the end. But guys, listen, don't miss the journey. If you're in a relationship with a wonderful, wonderful woman, a big part of the journey is just processing stuff, not fixing it. One of my favorite scenes in a movie was with Kevin Costner, who played the bodyguard, and Whitney Houston with John Walton. Actually, it wasn't John. It's a guy that played John Walton. He played Kevin Costner's dad. And they went to his cabin and started playing a game of chess that was already in progress. And I don't remember the time frame, but he said that this game has been going on, I think, for 5 years. Oh. And Kevin Costner's dad said, yeah, he had me on the run for the first couple of years. And so a relationship like Debbie's talking about is more of a chess game where we're moving and not looking to get to the end game, but just enjoying the process of the game, cultivating the relationship. But men will menstruate and just want to fix it. You know, oh, you got a problem? Hey, we're like Radio Shack. You got problems, we got solutions. You notice Radio Shack's not around anymore. And if you want your relationship to be around, set aside the solutions and have a conversation and enjoy the process. Stop menstruating and enjoy the process. Thank you guys for joining us. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate my team interviewing me about what is it really like to be a man, and I don't know. I've been working at it for a long time. Maybe I'll get better. You guys be patient. I'll do my best. We'll have to do one on being a woman one of these days. What a mystery that is. Catch you next time. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.